There's a rumor going around. If you like this video and subscribe, you will learn Ice Dragon Slayer magic. Hi guys, this is the next part of What If Itachi Uchiha Was Reincarnated in the World of Fairy Tale. I hope you enjoy. In the room where everything was decorated with cats, was Natsu, who had an entire cat head mask on. Happy will be so surprised. Maybe I should surprise Urza too, while I'm at it. Wait, I bet Lucy will have an even better reaction. Natsu said, not noticing Wally standing behind him, with his arm transformed into a gun pointing at Natsu. This is the end, boy. Meanwhile, with the others, everyone followed Simon up a staircase as Simon was trying to contact Wally and Miliana. Damn, both Wally and Miliana have shut off their communications. I have no way of telling where to find them. Simon cursed. Communication? Lucy questioned. Telepathic communication magic, no doubt. Juvia said. Urza suddenly stopped as Sho was also following them, now having a depressed expression over what he tried to do. Are you alright, Sho? Urza questioned. Yeah, because you're here, Nei-san, Sho replied with a weak smile. Urza smiled back at Sho as they kept going. Hey, can we really trust this guy? Gray asked Juvia in a low tone. I accept that he didn't try to kill us and all, but I don't intend to make excuses. Simon said, having heard Gray. You heard? Huh, a wizard that could be killed that easily would never stand a chance against Jalal. Simon said, then looked at Itachi. As I see it, you and Natsu are the only ones who can beat Jalal. What makes you say that? Itachi raised an eyebrow at the declaration. I saw you fight here back when you and Urza escaped. You had powers that far exceeded anyone I have ever witnessed. The only one I have seen that comes close to that level of power you showed back there was Jalal. Also, there is Natsu's true strength. Simon said. The true power of a dragon slayer, huh? Itachi muttered. Back with Natsu. Natsu suddenly sneezed while still having his head trapped in the cat mask. Gross. I can't wipe my face. Maybe I should take this off after all, it's stuck though. Goodbye, boy, Wally said, about to shoot when suddenly someone pushed his arm upwards, making him hit the wall, alerting Natsu. No. The person that pushed Wally's arm was Miliana. Miliana. Wally shouted. Blocky. Natsu shouted. What are you doing? Wally questioned. Don't be mean to the kitty. Miliana pouted. That's not a cat. Isn't it obvious? Wally shouted. Meow. Natsu meowed. See. Miliana said. Why you? Move aside, Miliana. He's the enemy. Take this. Wally said as his blocky body split into several blocks that flew towards Natsu. Whoa. Natsu dodged several blocks, then grabbed a large stuffed cat. Cat barrier. Kitty. Miliana cried. I told you. It's not a cat. It's the enemy. Wally shouted, frustrated. Meow. Natsu meowed, dodging the blocks. Enemy. Even though it's a kitty? Miliana questioned. There's a person inside, you know. Wally said. Meow. Natsu meowed again and leapt in the air with his fists covered with flames. Cat fire. Natsu punched several of the blocks, destroying some of Miliana's stuffed animals. Now I understand why Jalal said to be careful with this boy, Milia. Give me back up. Wally said. That's rotten. Pretending to be a kitty when you're actually a person. Miliana said with rage. You're one to talk. Natsu shouted. Kitty restraint tube. Miliana made a magic circle where out came an orange rope that bind itself to Natsu's wrist. Well done, Miliana. Wally said with a smirk. Wally. Beat up that fake kitty, a disgruntled Miliana demanded. Watch as I do, Milia. Wally said as blocks flew towards Natsu. Cat fire. Natsu shouted, but nothing happened. Huh? Natsu questioned when suddenly a block hit him and sent him flying back into a wall. What the heck? Exclamation mark. I suddenly can't use magic. Is it 'cause of this thing? Natsu questioned, trying to pull the rope off his wrist, as new rope bound itself on his ankle. Natsu was dragged across the room, then a block landed on his back. I hate fake kitties, Miliana said as she tied Natsu's entire upper body with the orange robe. End of the line, salamander. Take this, Wally said, about to shoot Natsu, who was trying to crawl away. Crap, Natsu cursed. Whoops. I nearly forgot my dandy catchphrase. The moment you met me, your future was, Wally said when suddenly Happy flew in, and slammed Wally in the back of the head with one of Miliana's cat toys. Happy. Natsu said. Natsu. I'm so glad you're alright. What's with that costume, though? Happy questioned. Just get this thing off me. Natsu cried out. Happy giggled. Curse you. How dare you interrupt my catchphrase? Wally shouted and shot at Happy, who desperately tried to dodge the shots. No. Don't be mean to the kitty. Miliana cried. Cats don't fly. Cats talking is fine, but not flying. Wally argued. Happy. Now. Natsu ordered. Aye, sir. Happy said and flew towards Natsu. Oh, no you don't. Wally said pointing his gun at Happy but was stopped by Miliana. I said don't. Miliana said and grabbed Wally's scarf strangling him. Let go. It's not a cat, as Wally struggled to breathe. Hurry. Happy. Natsu said as Happy was trying to untie the rope. I can't untie it, Natsu. Damn. Guess that leaves me only one choice, then. Special attack. Kitty in pain. Meow. Natsu said as suddenly the cat mask gained a sad expression as tears ran down from it. Miliana also had tears in her eyes. Suddenly the rope fell off Natsu. It worked. Happy questioned in shock. What are you doing, Miliana? Wally shouted slightly enraged. I can't help it. The kitty was. Miliana cried. Don't give me that. Wally shouted. All right. Natsu got up ready to fight. Go. Natsu. Happy shouted. Natsu charged at them with waves of flames coming from his arms at the shape of wings. Fire Dragon. Wing attack. Wally and Miliana got knocked out after the wave of flames blew them away. That ends my rematch with Blocky. Natsu cheered. How long are you going to keep that on? Happy questioned as Natsu still had the cat mask on. I can't get it off, Natsu replied with a sweat drop. Meanwhile at the throne room at the top of the tower, Jalal sat there with what resembled a chess board with different figurines, as he picked up one that was the shape of a dragon, using it to knock down one that was shaped as a cat and an archer. Sho and Simon have turned traitor. Wally and Miliana have been bested by the salamander. This is exactly how a game should be. There's nothing more unexciting than a one-sided game. Jalal-sama, we need to capture Urza at once and commence the ceremony. There is no time for fun and games. Then will you go, Vidaldis? Jalal asked the man with long dark hair. You don't mind? Vidaldis questioned. It is our turn after all. Jalal said as he placed the 3 figurines on the board. One rock and roll guitar, one of a pink-haired lady and one owl. Vidaldis then smirked as he let out his magic powers and his appearance changed. His hair grew longer and reached all the way to his feet. He had bangs that reached to below his waist. He had a hooked nose and hairy eyebrows. His skin turned paler as he began to look like a metal musician. He had dark makeup around his eyes and on his lips. On his chest was a tattoo that said, Skeletoi. He had shoulder pads and arm guards covered in spikes. He had tights that was held up by his belt with a skull-shaped belt buckle. Next to him was a woman with long, bright pink hair which was tied on the top of her head into 2 large buns. Her figure was curvaceous. She had a beauty mark underneath each of her eyes. She wore red lipstick. She wore a long, slightly loose white kimono with a red stripe in between 2 black stripes around the waist. The kimono was open at the top revealing her shoulders and her cleavage. Next to her was a heavily muscular man that had an owl head instead of a normal one. He had rocket pack strapped on his back. All he wore as clothing was a pair of green short tights. The Assassin Guild Death's Head Order. Vidaldis Taka. Jalal said. Go to hell. Hell. I'm gonna show him the greatest, and worst hell of all. Vidaldis said with his tongue sticking out. Fukuro. Jalal said as the owl man bent his head to the side. Captain Ikaruga, is it the fate of love and life to pass away? Ikaruga said as sakura petals floating around her. Tonight, we shall make merry. We, Trinity Raven, the Special Forces unit of the Death's Head Order, have arrived. Ikaruga said as they bowed to Jalal. Your big moment has arrived. Go forth. But first release our test subject from his cell. Jalal said as he placed a zombie figurine on the board. Someone has to keep the demon eyes away until the ritual is complete. Jalal said as he looked at a piece that was the shape of a demon. Understood. Ikaruga said as she walked over to a door. She opened it and inside were several dead guards. In the center of the room was one tiny cell that had a man cramped inside it holding a 3-headed red scythe. Jalal-sama has a victim for you to sacrifice. The man lifted his head, revealing a pair of light purple eyes looking back at her. The man then gained a smirk. About damn time. The man said as beneath him was a ritual circle drawn with blood. It wasn't easy sacrificing these guards with me trapped in this cell. Finally I will be able to move around more. Ikaruga walked up to the cell and took out a katana. She gracefully sliced the cell door open. Just don't try and attack any more of our people. Or it's back into the cage. I get it you bitch. I will play nice, as long as I get to sacrifice to Lord Jashin I'm pleased. The man stood out revealing his slicked back white hair. He was shirtless and wore black pants. He had several stitches on his body going around his neck, torso, and limbs. He held a necklace that had the exact same mark of the circle drawn on the floor of his cage. He then kissed the necklace. Just point me to my next victims. The man was none other than Hidan, a former member of a certain organization Itachi used to be a part of, the Akatsuki. Your target is a man that is known as the Demon Eyes of Fairy Tail. His name is Itachi. Ikaruga said, making Hidan flinch a little. His full name won't happen to be Itachi Uchiha, would it? Hidan asked. It is. He's a very powerful wizard. Jalal-sama wants you to use your special gifts to keep him away from the ritual. Ikaruga replied, making Hidan let out a chuckle. You know him? Yeah, let's just say I've had the pleasure of meeting that bastard before. Hidan said with a crazed grin. I've always wanted to sacrifice that overconfident bastard. I don't really care what relationship you've had with people in the past, just do your job. You still owe us for saving you and putting you back together. Ikaruga said. Watch it, lady, or I might just sacrifice you. Hidan said and directed his scythe at Ikaruga, who remained unfazed as she pushed the scythe away with her katana. You're welcome to try. Ikaruga challenged, sending looks with killer intent at Hidan. Hidan just smirked at her. Oh, scary, scary. Hidan chuckled and brought his scythe over his shoulder, as he followed her out of the door to the room where Jalal was. Has she told you about your objective? Jalal questioned. Yeah, I just have to kill that annoying Itachi Uchiha, right? Hidan asked. Hey, just try and keep him at bay. Jalal chuckled. You will keep your end of the bargain? Hidan questioned with a serious expression. Of course, once we have used the R system to revive Zirf, we will revive this so-called Jashin as well. Jalal replied. Not revive. Lord Jashin can't die, he just needs a body. Hidan said with anger. Of course, sorry, we can give Lord Jashin one of the bodies of the Fairy Tail group. Does that sound good? Jalal asked. As long as it's a human body it'll be fine. Hidan replied. Back with Natsu and Happy. Happy was doing everything he could in order to pull the cat mask off Natsu. Happy. What? Happy questioned as he still tried to pull the mask off. Pull harder. Natsu said. I'm pulling as hard as I can. My head's coming off. Natsu cried when suddenly the mask popped off and Happy fell back. It's off. Natsu said with a grin. Wally struggled to get up when suddenly the cat mask fell over his head. Now it's stuck on Blocky. Natsu laughed. What's with that thing? Happy questioned. Wally instantly got up and pulled the mask off. This isn't over yet. Salamander, Wally said when he began to feel the pain left by Natsu's attack. Actually, I already got my payback, and with Urza and Happy safe there's no reason for me to keep fighting. Natsu said. Yeah, Happy agreed. We're going to heaven, to the true freedom Jalal speaks of, to a world where we'll rule the people. Wally said weakly. Welcome, one and all, to the Tower of Heaven. A voice was heard from a speaker. Jalal. Wally grinned. I am Jalal, ruler of this tower. Both sides have arranged their playing pieces. Jalal's voice said, with Itachi and the others. As they were in a room that had strange faces on the floor, the walls, the ceiling that had eyes that were glowing red. What? Gray questioned. It's Jalal. He's talking so the whole tower can hear him. Simon said as none noticed Sho shaking in anger. So, shall we begin, Heaven's game? The rules are simple. I wish to use Urza as a living sacrifice in a ceremony to revive Zirf. Jalal declared. Sho was shaking in anger. Jalal, Sho said in a venomous tone. In other words, once the door to heaven opens, I win. But, if you are able to prevent that, then you win. However, that by itself wouldn't make for a very fun game. So I have brought 4 warriors here. 4 warriors? Who are they? Simon questioned. Itachi remained silent and activated his Sharingan. Let's see. Itachi looked around trying to see if one of those 4 warriors were hiding close by, in order to ambush them. They don't seem to be anywhere near us. Itachi thought and kept his Sharingan activated just in case. The only way to reach me is through them. In other words, this is a 4-on-9 battle royale. One final note, there is a chance that the council will attack this location from the satellite square, using Etherian, the ultimate, all-destroying magic. It's unclear how much time we have left. However, should the Etherian hit, it will mean destruction, game over without any winners. Jalal said as the group gained uneasy expressions, except for Itachi who remained unfazed. What are they thinking? Lucy questioned. Etherian, you say? The council would do that. It's not possible, Urza said. It is. If Jalal is to succeed in his plan to revive Zirf, it will bring an even greater chaos than one Etherian blast ever would. so the council will most likely end up resorting to it in order to protect the world from Zerf. Itachi said. No way, Lucy said with fear in her voice. How can you be so sure of it? Urza questioned. In order to fire an Etherian blast, it would only require a few members of the council to agree, not all of them. And since most people are willing to either go that far to protect the world, or they're just too much of a coward and afraid for Zeref's return. You'll be surprised at how many people only think of themselves before others, and I've seen some of the council members before. I guarantee you that some of them put themselves before others. Itachi replied, much to everyone's fears. However, something bothers me. What? Gray questioned. The way he sounded when he talked about the Etherian, it almost sounded as he was counting on it to strike the tower. Itachi replied. Suddenly Sho directed his hand at Urza, and in the next moment she was trapped inside a card. Urza. Gray said in shock at the development. Sho. What are you doing? Simon questioned. Now, then, let's play. Jalal said as the faces around the room lost the red glow in their eyes. I won't let anyone touch Ne-san. Sho declared as he held Urza's card. Hey, Sho. Urza shouted from the card. I'll defeat Jalal myself. Sho said and ran. Stop. You can't do it alone. Simon shouted and ran after Sho with Itachi following him. They arrived in a room with several large cages hanging around, when suddenly a large crash was heard and they spotted Natsu and Happy. What the heck was that? Natsu questioned. Salamander. Simon shouted, gaining Natsu's attention. Huh, who are you? Natsu said, not seeing Itachi as he was standing behind the giant Simon. Natsu. He's one of Blocky's friends. Happy said. Meaning you're one of Jalal's cronies. Natsu realized. No, he's on our side. Itachi said, stepping forth. Itachi. Natsu and Happy said in unison. He's on our side, he only pretended to work for Jalal. Itachi said. That's right. Simon nodded. Really? Natsu questioned, to which Itachi nodded. Then who is this Jalal? And what is this ridiculous game of his? Natsu questioned. He's the younger brother of Seagrain, a council member. He must have already foreseen that the council would use an Etherian blast. Simon said. Oh, so it's just a fight between brothers? Natsu questioned. I wonder. I don't know what happened between them, but, Simon said when suddenly the man with an owl head appeared. He's here. Happy shouted. That's. Simon said with fear in his eyes. An owl? Seriously? Itachi questioned with a deadpan expression. Rule breaking is impermissible. In the name of justice, I shall punish you. Fukuro, the Knight of Justice, has arrived. A bird. Happy shouted. Whoa, a bird's talking about justice. Natsu shouted. This is bad. Simon said and brought his hands together. Dark moment. Everything in the room turned pitch black. Gah, I can't see. Natsu said. He is a bad guy after all. Happy shouted. Now's your chance. You mustn't get involved with him. Simon warned. Ha. Fukuro the just can see through darkness. Fukuro said and extended his palm at Simon. Justice hoot. Fukuro shot an orb of light at Simon, but Itachi appeared in front of Simon and slapped the orb to the side. What the? Fukuro questioned. There's no point in making things dark. If he has an owl's head and eyes, he must have night vision. Itachi said as Simon then quickly turned things back to normal. How were you able to see it? Simon questioned. My eyes can see magic power as colors, even in the dark I was able to see him. Plus, I can see everything as if it was moving in slow motion, meaning I was easily able to see his attack coming. Itachi replied. So who is this guy? He's a member of an assassin guild. Simon replied. Assassin guild? Happy questioned. It's a type of dark guild. They're evil guilds that, without any real work, have made assassination work their specialty. In particular, a 3-member team known as Trinity Raven is legendary for assassinating officers in the Western Army during the Cabria War. Simon explained. And this person, Air, Bird, is one of them. Happy questioned. We merely stamped out evildoing. Fukuro said. So the 4 warriors Jalal spoke of are most likely the 3 members of the Trinity Raven as well as another person. Itachi said. They're professional assassins. You can't fight them. Simon warned. Salamander. Word of your vile reputation has reached our guild as well. Once more, this Knight of Justice shall put an end to evil. Fukuro declared. Natsu had scorching flames burst out of his hands as he looked at Fukuro with a pissed-off expression. A guild is a place for us to share dreams and beliefs. Not to take crappy work like yours. Stop. Salamander. You mustn't get involved with an assassin guild. Simon warned. I can't stand that there are assassination jobs in the first place. I can't stand that people offer these jobs, too. And I can't stand that you're talking like you know about guilds. I'm gonna destroy you cause I can't stand you. Bring it on, Birdbrain. Natsu challenged. How naive you are, Salamander. There is evil in this world that cannot be allowed to live. Oh, Thruster. Fukuro said as he powered up his rocket pack. And you are one of those people. Be gone. Jet Hoot. Fukuro flew like a rocket around the room and charged at Natsu with his large fist. Natsu grabbed Fukuro's arm as he held on for the ride. If it's firepower you want, I got you beat. Natsu said and threw Fukuro at one of the cages. Oh, Thruster again. Fukuro flew up and grabbed Natsu by the ankle. Throw. Fukuro threw Natsu at the top of one of the cages. Natsu. Happy shouted. You're quite a sturdy fellow. This will be my first challenging job in a while. Fukuro said when two shurikens flew around him. Suddenly Fukuro felt thin wires wrapped around him. He looked towards Itachi who had the end of the wires in his mouth. Fire style. Dragon flame bomb. A wave of flames burned through the wires, when suddenly Fukuro broke free and quickly used his rocket pack to fly away from the fire. Meanwhile somewhere else with Lucy and Jubia. Natsu. Lucy shouted. Natsu. Jubia shouted. Natsu. He has good ears, so he should be able to hear us, even from far away, Lucy said. Just like Gaj. If so, then he should have a good sense of smell, too. Jubia said. You call him Gaj? Lucy questioned with a sweat drop. Why is Jubia helping you find Natsu, anyway? Jubia questioned ignoring Lucy. You're ignoring me. Look. That's just how it is, you know. Lucy said. Meanwhile in Jubia's mindscape an image of Gray with shining eyes and hearts floating around him appeared in Jubia's mind. I'm worried about Urza after all. I'm gonna follow Sho, Itachi and that big guy. I'll leave you two to find Natsu outside of Jubia's mindscape. There's no other choice if that's my dear Gray-sama's request, but doesn't he know leaving two romantic rivals all alone is a recipe for a bloodbath? Jubia questioned. I'm seriously not anything like that, let's be friends. Lucy said nervously when suddenly the sound of a loud guitar flowed through the room. What is this noise? A guitar. It's so annoying, Lucy said covering her ears. Jubia quite likes it. Jubia commented. You really are messed up, you know that. Lucy said. Out of a tunnel walked Vidaldus who was playing his guitar then swung his long hair around. Hey, yeah, this is a concert from hell. Destroy. Whoa, long hair. Lucy commented. I'm with the Death's Head Order Assassin Guild. That's right, like a skull. Pretty rockin' name, huh? Vidaldus said. I take it you're one of the warriors Jalal spoke of, Jubia said with an emotionless expression. I'm Vidaldus Taka, one of the Trinity Ravens. Rock you. Vidaldus's hair grew and attacked the girls. Lucy had to leap away to dodge but Jubia just stood still as the hair passed through her water body. Oh, interesting body you got there. Jubia's body is made of water. Drip. Drop, Jubia said. Get. I am, Jubia. I definitely can't, Lucy said. Attacks have no effect on Jubia. Jubia said as her body got surrounded by water. Water lock. The wave of water was sent towards Vidaldus who misheard the name of the attack. Rock! Exclamation mark. You're into rock too? Vidaldus questioned when suddenly his entire body was surrounded by water. All too easy. Jubia said. You're a former element 4 all right. You're scary as an enemy. Lucy commented. Vidaldus then looked at them and smirked. The water bubble around him began to shrink as his hair absorbed the water, much to Lucy and Jubia's shock. Vidaldus then swung his wet hair in the air. Jubia's water lock disappeared. Jubia questioned. So creepy. Lucy said creeped out. A quick rinse is just the thing for bedhead. Shampooing in the morning is bad. It harms the hair. Vidaldus said. How did you break the water lock? Jubia questioned. My hair absorbs liquids. But no oil or alcohol, please. It harms the hair. Vidaldus replied. Water. Has no effect. Jubia questioned. No way. Lucy said. Wow. You two are real babes. Vidaldus said with a chuckle. Not again. It never fails. Lucy said and went to Jubia's side. What are you referring to? Jubia questioned. The fact that being cute causes trouble. Lucy replied. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a girl by the toe, Vidaldus said as he pointed at Jubia. It's decided. You're the succubus today. Vidaldus began playing his guitar. Succubus? Jubia questioned. Rock of succubus. Vidaldus suddenly let out a huge soundwave. What is this sound? Jubia questioned. Hey. Yeah. No. Stop. Juvia screamed in pain. Juvia, what's wrong? Lucy questioned. Stop. Stay out. Juvia shouted when suddenly a light enveloped around her. Then steam appeared around the room as Vidaldus stopped playing. Juvia, Lucy shouted. You are now my slave. Vidaldus said with a smirk as the steam vanished and revealed Juvia, who looked paler, and had her blue hair flowing down as she wore makeup similar to Vidaldus. Her outfit even changed into something more revealing. It changed into a dark purple BDSM outfit that gave a full view of her large cleavage. Hell, 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 I'm gonna show you the greatest, and worst, hell of all. Juvia said and let out a maniacal laugh. What's going on? Lucy questioned in fear. Vidaldus then played guitar, sending out more sound waves. Yeah, this is the grooviest, Juvia said. So loud. Juvia, don't tell me this guitar noise made you. Lucy questioned as she was covering her ears. Vidaldus let out a crazed laugh. That's right. Girls I turn into succubus slaves obey only me. Vidaldus said as he was spinning his hair around, then he stopped playing. But the game would be no fun if I turned you both into slaves. No, what I wanna see is a catfight between two chicks. You know, with all the ripping and exposing and going, eek. You're depraved, Lucy said with disgust in her tone. Depraved. That's the greatest praise of all. Yeah, Vidaldus said with a large evil grin as he played his guitar. Ignorant girl, you don't know a thing about rock. Die, Juvia said as she turned her body into water and charged at Lucy. I just changed into this outfit, too. Lucy complained as water had surrounded her. Suddenly under her, Juvia's face became visible in the water. Now, then, what shall I rip off first? Juvia said as she stood up face to face with Lucy in her water form. I guess I'll start with that tacky dress of yours. Juvia ripped off some of Lucy's dress's chest area. Eek. Lucy squealed in horror. Vidaldus just stood and watched as he played his guitar. Yes, this is what I wanted, Vidaldus said as Juvia manifested herself back. Lucy took what was left of the upper part of her dress and tied it around her chest to cover it. What are you doing? Pull yourself together, Juvia. Lucy said when suddenly Juvia charged and head-butted her. Then she turned herself into water with Lucy inside. A hand made of water inside the water then grabbed Lucy by the hair and threw her out. Lucy rubbed her head. Juvia, you want to join Fairy Tail, don't you? Exclamation mark. Then why are you attacking an ally? Hey, yeah, this is groovy. Do more, Vidaldus said, which Juvia smirked and her hand turned into water. Water whip. Juvia then whipped Lucy's back with a whip made out of water. Hold on, Lucy said with tears of pain running down her eyes. Yeah, this rhythm burns bright red. This is the soul of rock, Vidaldus said. Soul my butt, Lucy shouted in anger. You both need to go at it. Like you're fighting over a guy you love, Vidaldus said, making something in Juvia snap. A guy we like? Juvia questioned in anger. Huh, Lucy questioned. Romantic rival. Juvia turned into a wave of water and charged at Lucy. No, I'm not, Lucy said before the water devoured her body. It's no use. He has complete control over her. What do I do? There's no way I can beat Juvia in a real fight, Lucy thought. Now you're gonna be destroyed inside Juvia. Juvia's voice echoed in the water. I can't. Hold my breath, Lucy, Juvia's normal voice echoed through Lucy's mind. Juvia, Lucy, this thing isn't Juvia. Juvia doesn't want to hurt her friend. Is it presumptuous of me to call us friends? It's true that you're my romantic rival vying for my dear Grey Sama's love. No, not really, Lucy thought. But Juvia has come to love Fairy Tail. It's full of caring, full of fun, full of warmth. Even when it's raining, it's as if the sun is shining brightly inside Fairy Tail. Juvia never knew it was okay to smile so much in a guild. She was so close to being friends with everyone, but now, Juvia really does bring misfortune everywhere she goes, Juvia said as it sounded as if she was crying. Juvia, it's time to finish her off, Vidaldus said as the wave of water spit Lucy out. This is the end, Juvia said as her hand turned into water. Fairy Tail would never turn down someone who can shed tears for her friends, Lucy said as tears formed in Juvia's eyes. Stand proud. You just gave me a great idea. What a load of crap. Finish her off already, Juvia, Vidaldus demanded. Okay, my water jigsaw will cut you into pieces, Juvia said as her body turned into a whirlwind of water. This will finish you for good. Juvia charged at Lucy. Lucy then brought out a golden celestial key, and as Juvia approached she shoved her hand with the key inside the water. Open. Gate of the Water Bearer. Aquarius. Lucy chanted as a blue magic circle formed in Juvia's water and out came a mermaid with a blue fish tail, long blue hair slicked back, she had a large bust and a blue bikini covering her breasts. Under her collarbone was a tattoo of her zodiac symbol. She had light blue crystal earrings, on each of her arms she had a golden bracelet and armlet, a golden belt around her waist, 3 piercings on her tail, and a headband. Her eyes were cold blue. What? Vidaldis questioned in shock. She used Juvia's body to summon a celestial spirit. Juvia questioned. Wherever there's water, I can summon Aquarius, the fiercest celestial spirit. I have to thank you, Juvia, Lucy said when suddenly she saw Aquarius's expression. She looked angry as she had a thick vein bulging on her head. Shut it, you annoying girls. Aquarius shouted and swung her urn sending waves of water washing everyone in the room away, even Lucy. Wah, Lucy said as she was being washed away. Wah, Juvia said as she was being washed away. While as Vidaldis's hair absorbed the water. That won't work. I already told you my hair can absorb water. Lucy popped her head up from underwater. Juvia popped her head up from underwater. Over here, Juvia. Lucy reached her hand out towards Juvia. Lucy. Juvia reached her hand out as they grabbed each other. Then the amount of water began to increase. What's with all this water? It's way more than I can absorb. Vidaldis said as Lucy and Juvia focused their energy and sent Vidaldis crashing in the ceiling with a whirlwind of water. Rousing, Vidaldis said as all of his hair fell off. The water then vanished as a now bald Vidaldis was knocked out on the ground, and Juvia had returned into her normal appearance. We did it, Lucy cheered as her and Juvia hugged each other. Juvia is back to normal. Juvia cheered. Hey you, Aquarius shouted as Lucy began shaking. Watch where you summon me from. You're not thinking of summoning me from a toilet next time, I hope. I'll kill you if you do. I'm sorry, Lucy muttered. Utterly frightening, Juvia commented. Don't push your luck with me. Aquarius said. Right, I'm sorry, Lucy said with fear. I'm going on a 2-week trip with my boyfriend now. You better not call me. Got that? Aquarius said. Yes, Lucy replied. It's about time you find a man yourself. Hey, fat chance, though, Aquarius mocked. Leave me alone, Lucy shouted as Aquarius returned to the spirit world. Love is important, Lucy. Juvia said and placed her hand on Lucy's shoulder as Lucy had no boyfriend and Juvia only had a one-sided crush. Anyway, we managed to beat one of them. We won't let Jalal have his way, Lucy said as she laid down on her back. The Magic Council, in regard of the Etherian attack on the Tower of Heaven, 4 are in favor, 5 are opposed. As such, use of the Etherian is hereby deferred. Wait, don't any of you understand the true gravity of the situation? Seagrain questioned. You're being disgraceful, Sieg. We've debated the issue long enough. There are peaceful solutions available as well. Peaceful you say? While we sit here wasting time with nonsense, Jalal is busy attempting to revive the dead. Can you not feel the negative magic energy overflowing or the horror of the one he's trying to revive? Seagrain questioned. What now, Seagrain? What are you referring to? Exclamation mark quote. I kept quiet about it to avoid panic that would result if word got out. But I've no choice now, Seagrain said. What are you talking about? Explain everything. The Black Wizard Zirf. Seagrain said to everyone's shock and horror. Is this true, Sieg? It is. I know Jalal better than anyone. He is my twin brother, after all. I call for another vote. The Tower of Heaven with Itachi and Natsu hoot kick. Natsu blocked Fukuro's kick with his arm. Then Natsu infused his foot with flames. Fire Dragon. Talon. Natsu kicked Fukuro in the face sending him flying back. Fukuro stood there with his head bent sideways, he then twisted it back straight. Sorry to disappoint, Fukuro said when 2 kunais landed in front of him with paper bomb tags attached to them. Fukuro bent his head sideways in confusion when suddenly the kunais exploded. Itachi stood a few feet above them holding another kunai in his hand. It's time for me to bring the hammer of justice down on you. Missile hoot. Fukuro's rocket pack flew towards Natsu who stepped to the side dodging it. Gimme a break. You can't hit me with that thing. Natsu said. All of a sudden it came back and Natsu leapt in the air dodging it. Suddenly an arm appeared from it and grabbed Natsu spinning him around. Then Natsu began to look ill. Don't tell me. Happy said. I know your weakness, Salamander. Fukuro said. This is bad. That's a vehicle. Happy said. What? Simon questioned. Natsu can't handle riding vehicles. Happy replied. Taking down a weakened target without fail. This is the very essence of hunting. Fukuro said when suddenly Itachi jumped on the rocket pack and stabbed it with the kunai. But the hand let go of Natsu so that he fell. Now, Fukuro said and leapt towards Natsu. Damn it, Itachi cursed when smoke came from the rocket pack. Itachi leapt away from it as it exploded. Capture Hoot. Fukuro's mouth suddenly widened in size as he began eating Natsu. What are you doing? Happy questioned. Then out of nowhere Gray leapt down to Simon and Happy. What the? Gray. Simon said. What's going on? Gray questioned as they watched as Fukuro swallowed Natsu whole. He swallowed him whole. Happy shouted. Itachi then leapt down to the others. What's going on? I digest the magic power of my prey. Fukuro said. Give Natsu back. Happy shouted and flew towards Fukuro. Fukuro looked at Happy with a grin. Fire Hoot. Fukuro let out a wave of flames directed at Happy. Just in time Itachi leapt in and grabbed Happy, dodging the wave of flames. That's. Simon muttered. Did he digest the salamander's magic and absorbed its powers? How do you like that? Fukuro said. This is the end. Fukuro shot a wave of flames at Itachi and Happy. Water style. Water dragon. A blue magic circle appeared and out came a dragon made out of water. It crashed into the wave of flames, creating steam all over the room. Weren't you guys supposed to go after Sho and Urza? Gray questioned. This guy got in the way. Simon replied. We gotta find him fast. Jalal was talking about sacrificing Urza, you know. I really doubt that almost anyone can beat Urza when she's serious, but she's completely defenseless stuck inside that card. Gray said. I chose the wrong time to reveal the truth to Sho. I never imagined he would go berserk like that, Simon said. Itachi. Gray. Happy muttered with tears in his eyes. Help Natsu. Man, you always have to give us trouble. You should know better by now, you damn fire freak. Gray said as he looked at Fukuro with rage. The digestion is starting. 10 minutes until the salamander's body is dissolved into nothing. And then his magic will be all mine. Fukuro declared. Itachi and Gray leapt to Fukuro. Not if we take care of you first. Gray said. Fire dragon. Roa. Fukuro chanted but stopped as Itachi delivered an upwards punch to his gut. Fukuro then vomited out Natsu, who was covered in slime. Now Gray. Itachi said. Right. Out of the way. Gray said. Ice blade. 7 strike dance. Gray formed a blade of ice on his right arm and on his left elbow and hit Fukuro 7 times and sent him crashing into a cage. And let him fall down into the deep hole of the room. The Magic Council. 8 votes for, 1 vote opposed. As such, an Etherian attack on the Tower of Heaven is hereby approved. When this was declared, Seagrain made a victorious grin. Back at the Tower of Heaven with Itachi and the others, we gotta hurry and find Urza. Gray said. Natsu, wake up. Happy said, shaking Natsu's body. Everything is spinning. Natsu muttered. Enough joking around, let's go. Itachi said as they all left the room. Meanwhile with Urza and Sho. Jalal. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. How dare you fool us. Sho shouted. Sho. Urza shouted from the card in Sho's pocket. How dare you hurt Ne-san. Sho said, too blinded by rage at Jalal to think of anything else. Just calm down. Let me out of here. Urza demanded. Don't worry. I'll protect you. I swear it. Sho said. Sho. Urza shouted. Sho ran out on a bridge that had a river beneath it and trees with sakura flowers blooming on them. Sho then stopped as Ikaruga stood in front of him. Sho brought out some cards and readied himself for battle. I am called Ikaruga. Pleased to meet you. Ikaruga introduced herself. Get out of my way. Who is this idiot? Sho questioned. My. Such a boorish man you are. Ikaruga said. I got no business with you. Sho shouted and threw several magic cards at Ikaruga. Ikaruga quickly sliced her sword in the air, cutting all the cards in half. Impossible. There is nothing I cannot cut. Ikaruga said. What are you? A cheap street performer. Sho held some cards, but then suddenly an X mark was cut beneath him and his cards were cut to shreds. What? I can't move. Severing nerves without cutting clothing or flesh. Such is the power of my Mugetsu style. Ikaruga said. She then spotted a card that contained Urza, who was trying to cut her way out. Sho. Urza shouted. Ne-san. Sho muttered. Oh, my. There you are, Urza. Ikaruga said. Let me out this instant. You don't stand a chance against her. Urza said. Don't worry. I've added shielding to your card. There's absolutely no way she can hurt you from outside. Sho said. Oh, that's very interesting, Ikaruga said, amused. Sho. Let me out of here. That's no ordinary sword she has. Urza said. It's okay. Trust me, Sho said. Ikaruga quickly swung her blade and nothing happened. see, Sho said, but then he widened his eyes, as he saw Urza blocking a slash with her sword inside of the card. Wah, she cut through the spatial dimension? Sho questioned as Ikaruga continued to swing her blade. Urza blocked the strikes from inside the card as Sho was pushed into a pillar. Nay-san. An orb of light appeared, out of the card exited Urza. You were kind enough to strain the fabric of space in there. So I took the liberty of cutting it wide open. Urza said as she stood now ready for battle. Ikaruga, was it? I have no business with you. Be gone. Is that how you say hello? Ikaruga said with a grin as Urza's armor cracked into pieces, making Urza fall to one knee. That can't be, Sho said. My, don't tell me you didn't see it. Ikaruga said with a confident smirk. Is what you gaze at, the evil apparition, far beyond the mist? Ikaruga sang. You were so focused on finding Jalal that you didn't notice the sword flash that surrounded you. Ikaruga said as Urza's expression darkened. Yes, that's the look. I'm not your ordinary passerby, you know, no it would seem not. Urza said and re-equipped into her Heaven's Wheel armor. You're my enemy. Come. Ikaruga challenged. Urza charged at Ikaruga and swung her sword down at her, but Ikaruga just spun around dodging it. Urza then flew up in the air with several swords rotating around her. Heaven's Wheel. Circle Sword. Urza brought all the swords down towards Ikaruga. Mugetsu style. Yasha Senku. All of Urza's swords were cut into pieces as the remains landed around Ikaruga. Ikaruga then delivered another slice, and then Urza's armor broke into pieces. Mugetsu style. Kuruda N. Ikaruga swung her sword sending waves of flames towards Urza. When the flames died down, Urza was in her Flame Empress armor, then the armor broke. Back with Itachi and the others. They ran in a hallway when suddenly Itachi felt a killer intent in the air. Huh? Itachi questioned as he heard blades sliding on stone. What is it? Gray questioned. Hiya. A shout was heard as Itachi leapt back and someone landed where Itachi stood. A three-headed red scythe was stabbed through the ground as the dust cleared and revealed a smiling Hidan. Hidan. Itachi questioned in shock. What's up? You damn bastard. Hidan said. What are you doing here? Itachi questioned still in shock. No. How did you get here? Hey. Funny thing actually. I was stuck in that hole and prayed to Lord Jashin to help me. The next thing I know I woke up in this tower. That punk Jalal said I was some sort of test for some spell that will grant someone help from the undead. He wanted a dead man, he got one. What was more fun for me was all the people that had to be sacrificed to bring me to that tower. Lord Jashin must have been really pleased. And now I get to continue my work. Hidan said and leapt at Itachi with his scythe raised above his head. Hidan brought the scythe down and Itachi took out two kunai knives and blocked the scythe from hitting him. Itachi then laid on his back and kicked Hidan in the gut, sending him flying. Itachi, who is this guy? Gray questioned. His name is Hidan, he's a sadistic creep who loves to sacrifice people to his so-called god. Itachi replied. TCH. I'll shut your mouth for good once I have sacrificed you to Lord Jashin. Hidan said with a crazed grin. Stay back, and whatever you do don't interfere. Itachi ordered, knowing full well of Hidan's abilities. Hidan then smirked and quickly threw his scythe at Itachi. Itachi quickly leapt to the side dodging it. Gray. Simon, who was holding Natsu, quickly ducked dodging it. Itachi saw that Hidan was still smiling. Itachi noticed something, a thin wire. Everyone look out. It's coming back. Itachi shouted as Hidan pulled his arm back and the scythe came flying back. Gray leapt to the side dodging it while holding Happy. Simon also leapt to the side while holding Natsu, barely dodging it. Itachi then leapt up dodging it as well. Hidan grabbed the scythe and smirked as a trace of blood was found on the last blade. You're screwed now. Hidan chuckled and licked the blood of the scythe while drawing a circle beneath him with a triangle symbol in it. Oh, no, Itachi muttered as Hidan's skin turned dark with some white markings making him look like a skeleton. What the? Gray questioned. Hidan then brought out a sharp black rod and stabbed himself in the leg. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Arg. Itachi heard someone scream and he quickly looked behind him, and then he saw Simon holding his hands on the same spot where Hidan stabbed himself. What's going on? Simon questioned. Itachi quickly turned to Hidan, who quickly pulled out the rod and aimed for his stomach next. Itachi leapt towards Hidan, but he was too late as Hidan stabbed himself in the side of his gut. Itachi now stood in front of him and kicked him in the face, sending him away from the circle. Simon. Itachi shouted as he looked back and saw Simon on his knees frozen, as blood dripped down from his mouth. A huge stain of blood appeared on the side of his stomach. What's wrong with him? Simon. Hey, Simon. Gray grabbed Simon and began shaking him. Itachi quickly turned to Hidan, who was now running towards Itachi with his scythe raised above his head. You'll pay for that, you bastard. Time to die. Hidan shouted and leapt in the air. Itachi stepped to the side, dodging the scythe. He then kicked Hidan in his chin, sending him flying back. I'll make sure you will never be able to do that again. Itachi said and grabbed the scythe and leapt towards Hidan, and then Itachi raised the scythe. Slice. Itachi was now behind Hidan. When Itachi stood up, Hidan's head fell clean off his body and landed on the floor, as well as the rest of his body. Why you killed him? Gray said with shock in his voice, and he was sweating. While an unconscious Natsu laid on the floor, Happy was hovering above him, and Gray was holding Simon, who was coughing up blood. No, I didn't, Itachi said and picked Hidan's head up by the hair. That hurt, you damn bastard. Hidan shouted. A talking head. A pale gray. Simon and Happy shouted in unison. Simon, you alright? Itachi asked. I think I will be fine, but the head, it talked. Yeah, Hidan's kind of immortal. Itachi replied with a deadpan expression. You son of a bitch. I'll kill you for this. Hidan shouted as Itachi looked at a window and walked towards it. Lord Jashin will kill you for this. You will be punished. Do you hear me? Yeah, I hear you. Itachi replied and tossed Hidan's head out the window. Hidan shouted as he fell all the way to the bottom. Splash. The sound of Hidan's head hitting the ocean was heard. Itachi walked away from the window casually as Gray, Happy and an injured Simon went to look out of the window. They then saw Hidan's head slowly sinking to the bottom of the ocean, as bubbles popped on the ocean surface due to Hidan shouting underwater. They then looked towards Itachi, who stood over Hidan's body. Itachi morphed his eyes into Mangekyo Sharingan, then suddenly Hidan's headless body caught on fire with some black flames. Sure he won't die? Gray questioned. Yeah, he'll live, Itachi replied and then went over to Simon. Itachi bent down and checked his wound. Doesn't look like he hit any vital organs, he was most likely just torturing you before he delivered the finishing blow. Put some pressure on it, Itachi said and took Simon's turban and gave it to Gray, who pushed it on Simon's wound. What did he do to me? Simon asked. Hidan has a powerful curse ability. All he needs to do is cut you, lick your blood, make a ritual circle, then any pain inflicted on him will be shared by his victim. Well, as long as he stays in the circle. And since he's immortal, makes the ability even more dangerous, since, no matter what fatal injury he gives himself, he won't die but his victim will, right? Simon asked. Yes, Itachi replied. So how do you know him? Gray questioned. Let's just say we have had the displeasure of running into each other in the past. Itachi replied. I see. Gray said, deciding not to ask any more questions. Back with Urza. Urza had tried her purgatory armor, but that also broke. Now she was in her clear hard clothing, which consisted of a white sarashi wrapped around the chest, a red hakama with a gold flame-like pattern at the bottom with black highlights, and Urza's hair was tied up in a high ponytail. She was holding 2 twin katanas. What are you thinking? That outfit is nothing but ordinary cloth, you've really underestimated me. Ikaruga said. What are you doing, Nei-san? You have plenty of other strong armor. You're even stronger than that, right? Sho questioned. I'm not strong at all. Not at all. The one person I have witnessed that was truly strong was Oni-chan, Itachi, but I am not strong. I lost many friends as I looked on. I wasn't able to protect those dear to me, and I was always crying, to make myself seem stronger. I sealed my heart inside armor, and cried. I always wore armor because I was weak. I was never able to take it off. I am prepared to cut down any opponent, clothed or not. I had believed my armor would protect me. But that was wrong. I had tried to plug up the cracks in my armor where my heart connected with others. Fairy tale taught me that human relationships can feel so close and warm. Nei-san, Sho muttered with tears in his eyes. I am free of hesitation now. I will strike you down with my all, Urza declared. They both readied their blades and charged. As they leapt in the air, the strike of their blades were heard. They landed on the opposite side of each other. One of Urza's swords cracked into pieces. This battle is over, Ikaruga said as her sword completely shattered. Impressively done, Ikaruga said as she fell down. Amazing. You really are amazing, Nei-san, Sho praised. Are you all right, Sho? Urza asked. Yeah, I think so, Sho replied. Me Losing, this is the very first time, since I joined the guild. Even so, both you and Jalal have lost, Ikaruga said. What do you mean? Sho questioned. In 15 minutes, the light of justice shall come raining from the sky, massacre awaits, Ikaruga sang. Sho, take Simon and everyone from Fairy Tail and get away from this tower as fast as you can. Urza ordered. But, Sho said, can you do that for me, Sho? Urza asked with a loving smile. Yeah, but what about you? Sho asked. I'm going to settle things, once and for all, Urza declared and walked towards her destination. Meanwhile with Itachi and the others. Get to a boat and leave, I'll go help Urza. Itachi ordered. What? No way, we're not leaving it up to just you and Urza. Gray argued. Sorry about this Gray, Itachi said and used his Sharingan to knock Gray out unconscious. Simon, do you know where the others are? Itachi asked. Yeah, Miliana and Wally have found Juvia and Lucy, and a knocked out member of the Trinity Raven. I told them that we're on the same side. And from what Sho told me the last member of the Trinity Raven's been defeated by Urza and that Urza is on her way to Jalal. Simon said. Good, there is a boat in the lower area at a small dock, tell them to go there. And then you and Happy will take Natsu and Gray there as well. Itachi said. What about you? Simon asked. I will find Urza and take down this Jalal. Itachi replied and walked away. With Urza walked into Jalal's throne room. There stood Jalal waiting for her. Oh my. The game is over already. Jalal said. Is toying with people's lives that much fun? Urza asked with disgust directed at Jalal. Most certainly. It is around the brink of life and death that all emotions revolve. Conversely, there is nothing as dreary and barren as simply living. It's been a long time, Urza. Jalal said with an evil smile. Jalal, Urza said with a venomous tone. I'm freeing your former allies. Fine by me. I've no need for them anymore. The Tower of Heaven is complete. Jalal said calmly. Yet you don't care that it'll be destroyed less than 10 minutes from now? Urza said directing her sword towards Jalal. Oh, you mean the Etherian attack? Jalal asked with a chuckle. You're too confident, so it was just a bluff. Urza said. No, the Etherian will rain down. Jalal said while removing his hood. That puts my mind at ease. If I simply keep you busy here for the next 10 minutes, everything will be settled. Urza readied her sword for combat. No, you will serve as a sacrifice for Zirf and cease to be. It is already set in stone. It is your fate, your destiny. Jalal said with a dark energy around him. With the others at the boat. Simon placed Natsu and Gray on the boat. Do we have to leave them here? Lucy questioned. Itachi said he will bring Urza back in time, we just have to trust him. Simon replied as he was holding a hand over his wound. Simon, are you alright? Miliana asked in a worried tone. I'm fine, Simon replied. Well, what are you waiting for? Get in the boat, Wally said. Yeah, Etherian could be raining down any minute now. Sho said. I'm sorry guys, Simon said and kicked the boat away from the dock and ran back into the tower. Simon, come back here, Sho shouted. Simon, Miliana shouted. Get back here, Wally shouted. Back with Urza and Jalal. 7 minutes left. 7 minutes until the Etherian rains down. Let us enjoy these 7 minutes, Urza, Jalal said. I no longer fear anything. If the Etherian hits, so be it. Taking you down with me is what I want, Urza declared. Oh, you want me to die with you? Let's see you try, Jalal said as he sent dark tentacles with red markings towards Urza who cut them with her sword. She then charged at Jalal. Jalal grabbed her wrist and charged up another attack. Urza managed to leap back but the attack blew a hole in the ground. Urza landed on a boulder and leapt back inside. Destroying the tower you worked so hard to build with your own hands. Urza said swinging her sword at Jalal who dodged and shot a dark purple beam that Urza dodged by leaping from a wall. What a waste, Jalal. Urza swung her sword. Jalal leapt to the side, making Urza cut his playing board with the figurines on it, in half that was behind him. A pillar or two is nothing. They're mere decorations, Jalal said. The only reason those decorations are there is because Sho and the others believed in you for 8 long years. Urza shouted. Don't start nitpicking everything I say. The R system is what matters. It's what those 8 years were for. And now it is complete. Jalal shouted as the dark tentacles popped up from the ground and formed a dome around Urza. It appears your skill has improved somewhat, but this is the end. Jalal said with confidence that he had won. Then suddenly Urza cut her way out. Jalal stepped back a little in shock. I told you, There is nothing I fear now. Urza charged at Jalal and managed to cut him in the gut. Jalal fell to the ground as Urza sat on top of him with her sword directed at his neck. What is your real goal? We both know the R system isn't really complete. I didn't spend those 8 years doing nothing. I did research on the R system. It's true that its structure and system follow the blueprints exactly. But it's still missing something vital before it can be called complete. I told you before, you're the sacrifice, Jalal said with a smirk. I'm referring to something even more basic. What's lacking is magic energy. A tremendous amount of magic would be needed to initiate this large-scale spell. Maybe even more than all the wizards on the continent have combined. There is no way this tower can hold that much magic, much less one person. On top of that, you haven't tried to escape despite knowing of the council's attack. What are you thinking? Urza questioned. 3 minutes until Etherian attack, Jalal said. Jalal, your dream is long over. Is dying now what you want? Exclamation mark. Then we'll go together. I won't let go until the very end, Urza declared with the fire of determination burning in her eyes. Perhaps that's for the best. I have no control over my body, the ghost of Zirf possessed it. I'm simply a puppet meant to give Zirf new flesh. Jalal said. Possessed? Urza questioned. I couldn't save myself. No one was there to save me, not even my friends. There was no heaven, no freedom, to be had. It was all over before it even began. When suddenly a light began to shine in the sky, I knew the R system couldn't be completed, but Zarif's ghost wouldn't let me stop. I can't be stopped. I'm a broken locomotive. Urza, you win. Finish me now. Isn't that why you came here? The entire tower began shaking and falling apart. The ceiling in the room began to fall around them, and up in the sky you could see a light slowly charging. There's no need for me to do it myself. The satellite square has already been deployed in the skies above. This is the end. For you and for me. Urza said as she got off Jalal, her sword vanished. Jalal sat up. Always one for awkwardness, so you were just another of Zarif's victims? Urza questioned. This is my punishment for giving into my weakness. My mind wasn't able to cope with the excessive gap between dream and reality. Jalal replied. Isn't filling the holes of your inner weaknesses and flaws what friends are for? Urza asked. Urza, Jalal muttered. I need to atone too, for not being able to save you, Urza said as they embraced each other in a hug. No, you have saved me, Jalal said, then gained an evil grin as the light of Etherian approached. Urza closed her eyes ready to accept her fate. Quote comma dot quote quote comma dot dot quote quote comma dot dot quote quote comma dot dot quote. Nothing happened. Urza opened her eyes and saw a bright light right above them. But there was a large red spectral warrior that had its arm raised above its head with a shield blocking the blast. She widened her eyes as above her and Jalal stood Itachi, who looked down on them as he struggled to push the blast of Etherian away. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Next episode will be out soon.